Good day, everyone. Today, we will continue our discussion about human acts. Particularly, we will be discussing the topic on the determinants of the morality of the human acts. But before anything else, let us try to explain. I would like to explain first what is this determinants of the morality of the human acts. So from the word itself, determinants, so it would help us to determine what is the morality of our human actions. It will help us to know what is the morality. Is it good? Is it evil? Or what kind of acts is our human actions? So there are three determinants of the morality of the human acts. First is the act itself, or the object of an act. Second, the intention. And third is the circumstance. So let us try to discuss it one by one. The first determinant is the act itself, or the object. The act itself or the object. So the act itself or object answers the question, what does the doer of the action is doing? So, ang ibig sabihin, ano ang ginawa mo? What is your action? No? But the act itself, the object of an act. So, anong ginawa mo? For example, killing. You kill a person. Yes, killing a person. Or you are stealing something. So, anong ginawa mo? Anong ginawa ng agent? What did you do? It answers the question, what did you do? What is your action? What is your particular act? So that is the act itself. The act itself. And accordingly, there are three morality of an act. There are acts which are intrinsically good in itself. There are also actions that are intrinsically evil, and there are also actions that is called indifferent acts. Indifferent acts are those actions which is not good in itself, and it is not also bad in itself. So I would like to repeat it. There are some actions which are intrinsically good. There are some good actions. There are also actions which are intrinsically evil in itself. And third, there are also what we call indifferent acts. And indifferent acts are those acts which is not good in itself, and it is not also evil in itself. What are those actions which are intrinsically good? For example, intrinsically good. Kanang pag-istorya pa lang nimo, by the act itself, by just saying the action itself, you will already know if it is good or if it is bad. For example, loving. So by the act itself, it is good. Giving. What else? What are those? What are some examples of good actions? Giving, helping, by that is intrinsically good actions. And there are also actions which are intrinsically evil in itself. By just saying the act, by just saying the action, you would easily judge it as evil. For example, killing. When you say killing, yes, it is evil. Intrinsically evil. When you say stealing, it is evil. Now, what are those indifferent acts? As what I have said a while ago, indifferent acts are those actions which is not good in itself, and it is not also bad in itself. So what are the examples? For example, the act of talking. When I say talking, you cannot easily judge it as, when you talk, masasabi mo bang good or evil? Hindi mo masasabing good when you just simply say talking. Hindi siya masama. At hindi mo rin masasabi na good action ang talking. So it's indifferent act. It is not good and it is not also evil in itself. So it would only becomes good because of the intention. It will only becomes evil because of the intention. So indifferent acts, those actions which is not good in itself, it is not evil in itself, no, it will become good or evil depending on the intention. For example, as what I have said, the act of talking. So the act of talking would become good if I am using this, no, if I am talking because for the good of all, no. If my reason of talking here is that I want the student to learn something, istorya ko dire, I am talking here because I want that my student must learn something from the class. So, my intention is good because I want the students to learn something. So, the act of talking in that case will become good. Now, if I am talking here, for example, no, I am uh, I am making stories about, no, about someone which is not true. No, gumagawa ako ng storya na hindi naman totoo, no, because gusto na ko madaot ng tawhana, no, gusto na ko nga, no, gusto nang madaot siya sa lain ng mga tao, so mangati ko, magistorya ko og mga dili maayo about that person. No, in that case, the act of talking would becomes evil. Okay? So, that is an example of indifferent act. It is not good in itself, it is not also evil in itself. It would only become good or evil depending on the intention of the doer. It is an example. Okay? So, let's try to go back. The act itself. No? So, when you say the act itself, by the action itself, no other reasons, no intentions, but just the act itself. By just looking at the act itself, by just looking at what did the person do, ano ang ginawa ng taong yon. For example, ginawa niya killing. So you can easily judge killing, it is evil. Kung, for example, tumulong yung tao, tumulong siya, okay, nagbigay siya, no? Nagbigay siya ng donation, nagbigay siya ng pera. No? The act of giving, no? The act of helping is good. By the act itself, without looking at the intention, without looking at any circumstances, no? By the act itself, no? What is the morality of the action? No? We can judge the act by just looking at the action. Okay? So that is the first determinants. Okay, that is the first by the act itself. No, malalaman mo kung ano ang morality ng action niya, good ba or evil, by just looking at the act. No? By just looking at the action. That's the first. Second, the intention or the motive. So intention or motive, no, it will answer the question, what is the purpose? What is the purpose of doing that action? Okay, nandun na tayo, intention, purpose, the motive. Okay? So for example, nagnakaw siya. Okay? Stealing. Pero ang reason niya is, what is the reason? Bakit siya nagnakaw? Sinabi niya, ang reason, nagnakaw siya because he wanted to help other people. For example, Robin Hood. If you are familiar with Robin Hood, he was stealing from the rich in order to help the poor. Magnanakaw siya, pagtapos yung ninakaw niya, itutulong niya doon sa mga mahihirap. That is Robin Hood. But in that case, the action, by the act itself, stealing, it is evil. It's evil. But the intention is good. Now, my question is that, what is the morality of the action? If the action is evil in itself, but the intention is good, what is the morality of the action? And the morality of the action is still evil, because by the act itself, no, if the action itself is already evil, whatever the intention, whatever the circumstance, the morality of the action will always be evil. Now, always remember this on the second determinant, on the intention. No? The action would become only good if the act itself is good and the intention is good. For example, helping. Okay. Helping. No? You help a person, so the act of helping is already good. You know, the intention, you help because you want that, you want that person, para gumaan yung buhay nila, para maahon sila sa kahirapan. That's a good intention. So that is the only thing, that is the only case that the morality would become good if the act itself is good and the intention is good. Okay? My example a while ago kang Robin Hood, the action is evil, but the intention is good. What is the morality? It is still evil. Okay, now another principle here. Your action is good. You help, you give money, for example, you give money, but your intention, you have a hidden interest. You give money because you want something in exchange. Binigyan mo siya ng pera kasi may gusto kang makuha. No, for example, during election, na politician, hindi mo makikita kahit during walang election, hindi mo makikita. During election, namimigay na ng pera. Kasi gusto nila, namimigay siya ng pera kasi gusto niya ang kapalit iboto siya. So, the act of giving is good in itself. Yes, it is good. The act itself is good. But my question is, the intention. The intention, gusto niya iboto siya, may hidden interest siya. So, the intention is not good. So, what will be the morality of the action? So, it is still evil. No, even if the act itself is good, but if the intention is evil, the morality of the action is evil. Okay? So, indifferent acts, for example, if it is indifferent acts, as what I have said a while ago in our discussions, the act itself, indifferent acts, it would become good or evil depending on the intention, on your intention. Just like my example, the act of talking. So, if I am talking here because I want you to learn, so the intention is good, so the action would becomes good. Pero if I am talking here, I am making stories, false stories about someone dahil gusto na akong madaot siya sa tao, the act of talking would becomes evil because my intention is evil. Okay? So always remember here on the intention, the morality of the action would becomes only good if there is a good action and a good intention. And always remember, even if the action is good but the intention is evil, the morality of the action is still evil. Even if the intention is good, if the act itself, if the action is evil but the intention is good, sometimes people would justify it. Maganda naman ang intention ko, ginawa ko ito kasi maganda ang intention ko. No, it would not justify it. It would not justify it. May kasabihan na tayo, the end does not justify the means. The end does not justify the means. If it is done with evil action, maski pang good ang intention, still the morality of the action is evil. Okay, now, the third determinants of the morality of the human acts is the circumstance. Circumstance, it is the condition that surrounds the actions. No? There are conditions that surrounds the actions, circumstances. No? And there are uh, I think there are 5 circumstances. The circumstance of person, the circumstance of time, the circumstance of place, the circumstance of manner, and the circumstance of purpose or motive. Now first, the circumstance of person. The circumstance of person, it would answer the question. No, dalawa ito, circumstance of person. Who and to whom? Sino ang gumawa ng action at sino ang recipient ng action? Okay? The circumstance of person. For example, rape. Sino ang nang-rape? So, ang rape is already an evil action. But there is another question, sino ang nang-rape? For example, ang nang-rape, pare. So the action would becomes more, it would becomes more grave. Mas magiging grabe ang level ng, magiging mas worse ang action because of the circumstance of person. Because ang pare, the priest should be, or they are, they should be an example or model of good actions, good morality yung mga pare. They must be an authority, they must be a model, they must be an example. Hindi sila dapat yung gumagawa ng ganyan. So, for example, rape, pagkatapos pare pa ang ng rape, so mas naging worse yung action niya because of the circumstance of person. Sino ang gumawa? For example, pagnanakaw, stealing is already evil. But the question is that, sino ang ninakawan? Kinsa imong gikawatan? For example, there was a beggar. Yung beggar, ninakawan mo. Itong nanglimos mo, pag ito ang imong gikawatan. So, mas nahimong worse ang imuhang sala nga pagpangawat. Tungod kay ang imuhang gikawatan, walang-wala. Okay, another question. For example, again, stealing. Sino ang nagnakaw? For example, politician, nagnakaw. Sinong ninakawan? Yung mga pobreng tao. Okay, mas nagiging worse. Kasi sila pa nga ang politician, ninakawan pa nila yung mga pobre, yung mga, those are poor people. So, mas naging worse yung pagnanakaw. So, circumstance of person. Nagiging mas worse, nagiging mas mabuti yung ginagawa mo because of this circumstance of person. Sino ang gumawa? Sino ang recipient ng ginawa mong actions? For example, nakipagsuntukan sa eskwelahan. Siguro normal na makita nyo nakipagsuntukan sa estudyante. Pero, parang grabe yung intensity ng kasalanan pag nakita nyo yung teacher nakipagsuntukan. Diba? So, mas nagiging worse. Kasi dapat teacher ka, you are expected to become a model. Hindi ka dapat gumagawa ng mga ganyang bagay. Pagkatapos ikaw pa yung una na gumagawa ng nakipagsuntukan ka sa eskwelahan. So, it becomes worse, the act, naging worse ang action because of the circumstance of person. Sino? Okay. Second, circumstance of place. So, saan? Saan mo ginawa? Circumstance of place. Circumstance of place. For example, hindi naman masama ang maglaro ng basketball. Playing basketball is good. Playing basketball is good because it will help you to become physically fit. Pero nagbabasketball ka sa loob ng classroom. So the act of playing basketball now would becomes evil because you do it inside the classroom. So possibly the classroom is intended for your classes. Ang basketball, hindi ka dapat naglalaro ng basketball inside your classroom. Nakakadistorbo ka sa mga tao na nagkaklase doon. That is the circumstance of place. Third, circumstance of time. Okay, again, example ng basketball na naman. Okay, basketball. Again, basketball. As what I have said, playing basketball is good. Pero naglaro ka ng basketball, oras ng klase nyo. Nag-absent ka because naglaro ka lang ng basketball. So, playing basketball now becomes evil. Because of the circumstance of time. Wala ka sa oras nagdula o basketball. Before when I was still studying, we have a scheduled time. We have time for study, we have time for classes, and we have time for games. So, for example, ang oras namin sa paglaro is 4 p.m. Pagkatapos naglaro kami at 3 p.m. So, mapapagalitan kami. Mapapagalitan. So, the playing games outside of that intended time, would becomes not good, would becomes bad, in that case. Circumstance of time. For example, for the Catholics, especially during especially during Good Friday, Biyernes Santo, Ash Wednesday, bawal kumain ng meat for the Catholics. Pwede naman kumain ng meat, pero during that time, for the Catholics, bawal kumain ng meat. If you eat meat during that time, Ash Wednesday and Good Friday, that would your action of eating meat would becomes bad or evil for the Catholics. Okay, so the circumstance of time. Now the circumstance of manner. How did you do it? How did you do the action? In what way? In what way nga ginawa mo yung action? In what way? For example, stealing, nagnakaw ka. In what way? Paano mo siya ninakawan? Nilooban mo ba yung bahay niya? Or giskam ba nimo siya? Giatek nimo siya istorya diha? Gipangayuan nimo siya og kwarta, wa na kanibalik? Na-scam siya? Kawat man gyapon na stealing. In what way? This is the circumstance of manner. The manner of doing it. For example, pagpatay. Paano mo siya pinatay? Anong ginamit mo? Binaril mo ba siya? Gidungga ba nimo siya? Kapila? Diba? Kung kadaghan nimo gilata, gichap-chap nimo siya, mas nahimong worse ang imuhang sala nga gibuhat because sa imuhang manner nga pagbuhat ato, gichap-chap nimo siya. Kapila nimo gidunggab, gitagod-tagod nimo siya. Mas nahimong nga kuan compare kung katulong gidunggab ka isa, mas nahimong worse. Okay, depending yun sa nimo unsay pamaagi. Okay. Now, last, the circumstance of the purpose, the motive. The explanation for this, balik na. What is your reason? What is your reason for doing it? What is your reason for doing it? For example, my example a while ago, politician, lumabas lang during election time, namigay ng pera. Yes, the act of giving money, the act of giving is good, but if if the intention, no, ang intention niya is not really to help, but gusto lang niya na iboto siya during election, so that act becomes evil. So that's all for our discussion about the determinants of the morality of the human acts. So always remember the three determinants of the morality of the human acts. No? The act itself, or the object, the intention or the motive, or the purpose of doing it. And third is the circumstances. No? Circumstances. So I hope you understood what I have discussed what I have discussed today. No? And we will continue our discussion on the about human acts, no? On our discussion on the modifiers of the morality of the human acts. So next time we will be discussing the modifiers of the morality of the human acts. Thank you.